welcome to another episode in your favorite program.
Centrally Speaking, the program that keeps you informed on the work and function of Jamaica's Central Bank, Bank of Jamaica. I'm Anna.
And I'm Sheena. Thank you for joining us as we have a conversation about important matters of economics and finance that impact the nation and your everyday life.
Sheena?
Yes, Anna?
One of them things that will impact my life.
What's impacting?
Are them eater.
Yeah, the heat is
heat is hot in. I'm afraid the hurricane will come.
Yeah, and it's the season for that, don't it?
Jesus. So when are your hurricane backpack?
Tin food.
Tin food? Me need
I
that.
make me stuff them, me important things them in a plastic and all these
As
things.
long as there's AC, we're good.
But me feel like
As long as I
the
AC.
hurricane might impact the AC.
Yo, we not lie. We need AC.
Okay.
The AC and Wi-Fi.
All right.
Yeah. Me never need the food. Me not lie.
Okay.
Place hot.
Well, me
Me
love
never
my
want
belly.
eat. Hey, because we don't know how that manage. We don't know how that manage, but what's the storm now come? But anyway, remember Hurricane Ivan? You remember?
Yeah, I remember Hurricane Ivan.
Jeez,
It taught me a lot
okay.
about non-perishables and ensuring that we secure our things.
Girl, I don't want to go through another one of those. But anyway, Sheena seems to be better prepared than I am because she wants tin food.
As always. We have Hurricane Ivan to thank for that.
Ah, yes. But viewers, we are here again at the offices of the Bank of Jamaica. Yes, today we'll be having a conversation with the acting managing director of the Exim Bank. I'm sure you'll be excited to meet him.
But before we speak with Mr. Barnaby, let's check in with the streets.
What are your thoughts on the new banknotes?
They're cute, but the only thing is that you can't deposit them. I had a hard time trying to pay my credit card bill the other day because can't deposit them. So that's the only problem that I have with them. But them alright, them cute.
Aesthetically, they look nice. I like the switch up, but if you're not careful, you can get some of them mixed up. I know some of them look, similar, and so I mean that's probably like the only problem I would have with it. Some of them look a bit too close, so you can get confused or you can make a mistake. Especially like I would take public transportation, like the taxis, and I might accidentally give like 1,000 instead of a 100.
They're kind of more durable for real, because that has been tested. But for the most part, besides that, I don't really like them because I'm not so familiar with them, so I tend to give the wrong notes away.
I like them because firstly they don't get dirty very easily, and secondly I think they're more versatile. That's about it, and they're prettier.
Well, the new banknotes, based on usage, it durable, and I don't really have any concerns about them. It's just a change in the system, it's durable. It costs a lot of money to make, but I guess we can see the long-term benefits of it.
I like it actually. It's pretty. The only thing though, it's really thin. So you'll have a bulk amount of money, and because it's thin, it looks it looks as if there's not much money. But other than that, it's good. It's pretty.
It's time for a break, but when we return, we'll find out more about the work of the Exim Bank. Stay tuned, Centrally Speaking.
Introducing the new $2,000 note. The new $2,000 note was created to help bridge the gap between the $1,000 and $5,000 notes. With the introduction of the $2,000 note alongside the $1,000 and $5,000 notes, fewer notes will be required to settle transactions. For example, instead of using 4 $1,000 notes to settle a transaction of $4,000, an individual could use just 2 notes, a combination of 2 of the new $2,000 notes. This substitution effect will lead to less reliance on the heavily demanded $1,000 bill, as well as generate cost savings for the bank over time.
Welcome back to Centrally Speaking. Today we have with us Mr. Errol Barnaby, Acting Managing Director for Exim Bank. Errol, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me,
It's good to
Sheena
have you.
and Anna.
It is good to have you. So firstly,
Yeah.
all right, so Errol, tell us and our viewers, what does Exim stand for and what was the genesis that led to the creation of the Exim Bank?
So the Exim Bank is the Export-Import Bank of Jamaica. It is an initiative of the former Prime Minister, Edward Seaga,
Okay.
and it was formed as a credit export agency. Out of that came the absorption of the Jamaica Export Credit Insurance Corporation, and which was at that time seeking to increase the non-traditional exports
Okay.
and also provide working capital loans to the exporters, while also increase the availability of foreign exchange to the productive sector. Export credit insurance was a major role at that time. Over time, the bank has evolved and now become the premier trade financing institution, where we focus on the SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises. We play a little role in the micro part of it, but not in a direct lending way. As you know, Exim Bank is there to support the productive sector through the national initiative of driving Jamaica as a national export-led economy. Right now, we are not competing with the commercial banks. What we're doing is to fill the gap where credit is concerned. As you know, the SMEs are primarily underserved with financing, and there's where Exim fill that gap. And Exim, over time, has become one of the premier trade finance institutions in the island.
Okay.
So on that note, how is it funded?
Currently, it is larger from the loans from the Pedro Carib Development Fund.
Okay.
We have a line with the Development Bank of Jamaica. The Tourism Enhancement Fund, we have a line with them, which offer one of the cheapest loans you can find right now. And then we have a line with our parent ministry. We are an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. And there is a MSME reset line that we currently make available to the SMEs for recovery of the economy coming out of the pandemic.
So share with us, you mentioned a few, but share with us the expansive suite of communities that Exim Bank serves.
Well, as I mentioned, the MSMEs, micro, small, medium-sized enterprises, we are also focused on exporters. You have exporters within the MSMEs as well. So we do not just look at the individual, we focus on the companies, the small, medium-sized companies within that sector.
A young man in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
His name is Errol Barnaby. He wants to
Yes.
he wants to export mangoes to overseas.
Yeah.
Can he access the services of the Exim Bank?
Of course he can access the service, but it will come with conditions. First of
Yeah,
all, he has
yeah.
to be an established business owner.
Okay.
In other words, he have to be a part of the farmer system register and is tax compliant.
Right? Okay.
I take it that at that stage, since he's exporting, Errol Barnaby is exporting, he would have been a registered exporter.
Right.
Right.
So Exim Bank is ready for him.
Okay.
There are facilities that he can draw down on through the Exim Bank, such as pre-shipment financing, post-shipment financing, and also we can take care of his trade through trade credit insurance. So for instance, we will have a buyer overseas and he's not sure of collecting from them within a reasonable time, there it is, he can take out an insurance coverage and that, and he will be paid out if those payments are not coming within that time.
All right.
So you can make a claim on Exim Bank. So Errol Barnaby is well covered on the Exim Bank.
Okay.
We're going to continue on the conversation about Errol and his business
Yes.
because he wants to export mangoes, right?
Yeah.
But tell us, contextualize what that business ought to look like in terms of the size, in terms of sales, for example, for it to even get the attention of Exim Bank.
Well, if Errol is a small exporter,
Yes.
I take it that by virtue of being small, his income or his sales revenue is up to a certain limit. And I'm thinking now between, say, $5 to $15 million
Okay.
is his total sales. Then I would consider him to be a small business person. So I wouldn't eliminate entertaining Errol to draw down on any other facility within the Exim Bank. So for instance, if he's in export of mangoes, we look at the pre-shipment finance as one of the facilities we can offer to him. We look at the trade credit insurance that as well as post-shipment.
Okay.
Let me explain a little bit about the post-shipment financing, really. So, for instance, Errol has a trade credit insurance coverage with under Exim Bank.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way, this is the only institution that offer this type of product.
Okay.
So by virtue of that, we cover his receivables. So he has sent an invoice to his exporters. Say within 120 days, the exporters don't make good on payment. He can make a claim for that for at 80% of that invoice. But in addition to that, we can also provide working capital support to Errol by virtue of what we call an insurance policy discounting facility, where we give him 80% of that invoice, the value of that invoice, to be a part of his working capital until he's in receipt of that money from his buyer.
All right. So on that note, because it sounds like you have quite a few options for
Yes.
Errol, tell us a little bit about the interest rate, though. Is it going to be steep? It sounds too good to be true.
Well, right now as we speak, Exim has the most competitive rate in the market.
Okay.
Whenever you have a loan at Exim Bank, say for instance with a medium term to long term, you're locked into that interest rate to the life of the loan. Unlike other institutions where you may have variable, where you may the rates may change over time. So you're locked into that. But we have very competitive rate. Right now we have the lowest at the 4.5% at the SMTE loan. That is the small medium tourism enterprises. That's the facility financed through the Tourism Enhancement Fund.
Okay.
And which we lend up to 84 months at a maximum 25 million at 4.5% to SMEs, players within the tourism sector. That is very low. We have this 4.75%, which is the reset program. That was the line from our parent ministry, Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce.
Right.
That also to a maximum of 10 million for 84 months.
Okay.
The repayment terms and that is very, very reasonable. I think it's affordable in a sense. But also we have US dollar and J dollar currency where we offer to the SMEs through medium term revolver. What we call revolver is like a working capital support. So you draw them, you have your payroll to meet this week, your receivables are out there, but you need some money to pay your staff. What you do, you draw them on the line, pay your staff we'll give you up to 270 days to pay back Exim Bank. So by that you can pay your staff, the receivable chip in, then we repaid. Yeah?
Okay.
Then we have what we call the receivable financing. This is a very, what you call term unsecured loan, really.
Okay.
But we use the receivables as part of the security collateral to support that line. What it means is that your what will you say? Your debtor, so you sell the goods to.
Right.
They won't be able to pay you until say 60 days. You can discount that receivable and sell it to Exim Bank. So in other words, you say to Exim Bank, take this receivables, give me the money up front, and then you collect it from my customer by 60 days. But I need the money up front right now. The rate on that is 2.75% for 90 days. So, and it's prorated, by the way. So if the money is received before 90 days, the 2.75 will be reduced, of course. So that is what you call one of the most competitive. You mentioned about interest rate.
Interest rate.
This is where I'm trying to outline how competitive Exim is right now.
So revolver, reset,
SMT.
tourists.
Yes.
That's the SMT one.
We have medium term and long term as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and both in US and J dollar currencies.
So Mr. Barnaby, who exactly can access the Exim Bank loans and especially the short-term capital loan? Describe for us in a detailed way that particular business person.
Right, so I mentioned the SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprise. Once you're established says you're in the formal system, your company is registered, you're tax compliance, you can talk to Exim Bank.
Okay.
We focus, there are sectors in the economy that we focus on, from agri-processing, mining, tourism, distribution, and even services. So once you're in that space, you can come to Exim Bank.
And you must be exporting a product.
You can also, it's good if you're exporters. But outside that, you still can come to Exim Bank.
Okay.
Our focus really is on export. But we do have facility that other non-exporters can draw down on.
Okay.
All right, so on the note of export, can you just detail the export credit facility that we've heard so much about?
Okay, it's a trade credit insurance, really.
Okay.
It's almost a guarantee that Exim Bank will take over the commercial risk of that transaction.
Okay.
So let's say for the exporter Errol, who've just gone to market, just met his buyer overseas, he's not sure if this buyer is going to pay me within a certain time as agreed.
Yes.
You can take out an insurance coverage on that. And if it is that the buyer does not pay you within a reasonable time, then you can make a claim on the insurance. So it's almost like a guarantee that to say if your buyer doesn't pay you, we will pay you out.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have done our homework to ensure that we don't just, issue the product, so to speak. We have to do our due diligence as well and be comfortable that the buyer is someone that we can take the risk with as well.
Okay. So just a little bit more on the trade credit insurance. How does it work? Is it a percentage of the value of the invoice?
Yes. It's 60 cents per $100 to the value of the invoice. And you can make a claim up to 80% of the value of the invoice. So we use a period up to 120 days. If you are not in receipt of your payment within that time, then you can make a claim.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a commercial risk that Exim Bank actually takes over and allow you to continue doing your focus on your business, really. And I mentioned earlier about, in addition to that, if it is that you need working capital support, we can also provide another product that ties to the TCI, which is the insurance policy discounting facility.
Okay.
And we can finance up to 80% of the value of the invoice until we are in receipt of that payment.
What is the impact of the Exim Bank on the economy? You have any numbers you want to share?
Exim is instrumental in the growth and development as MSMEs in Jamaica, in the economy right now. We play a pivotal role in ensuring that our MSME especially are comfortable, have proper access to financing. We are here to fill the gap. Exim Bank, since its inception, we have over $136 billion in loans.
Wow.
We have serviced over 2,500 clients. And our clients, we're in a partnership with our clients.
Okay.
Exim knows business, and Exim leverage that function to ensure that our clients are comfortable.
Okay.
And we're always there for them. And to be honest with you, if I may say so, Exim knows SMEs more than any other financial institution in this country.
Okay.
So, Mr. Barnaby, before you go, tell us, I'm curious, what is your default rate, meaning the number of persons who default on loans? Because I suspect that the export business might be, plagued with some challenges, especially those that you mentioned. Buyers are not paying on time and so on, but the default rate.
And it's a very important question.
I thought so.
I appreciate it answering that. Because you have to look at Exim in the context as a developmental finance institution.
Right.
Finance institution. Our role really is to develop the economy. So therefore, we take a larger risk of issuing financing than the normal financial institutions.
Right.
But that being said, though, our NPL, which is a non-performing loans, which you call the default rate, it's really running at 42%. But if you may look behind the figures,
42% of the loans that you disperse?
Yes. But it doesn't mean that is a wide scale delinquency with our borrowers. It could mean also that we may have 4 large borrowers that will impact the ratio.
Okay.
But I can tell you, as where we are right now, we have 3 large borrowers that we have issued loans to that really create that high NPL on our books right now.
Okay.
And I don't really want to go into detail of it, but one of them is more of a country-to-country interest.
Right.
Okay.
That's really have an impact on our financials right now.
And there you have it, viewers. Mr. Errol Barnaby, Acting Managing Director at Exim Bank. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
And from Errol Barnaby at the Exim Bank, we now go for a break.
Jamaica's currency has a fresh new look. Introducing the new $50 note. The new $100 note. The new $500 note. The new $1,000 note. The new $2,000 note. The new $5,000 note. Jamaica's new banknotes, modern, more secure, and made to last.
Thanks for staying with us here on Centrally Speaking. On today's show, we learned all about the work of the Exim Bank, and here's a recap of the discussion. It's time for Fast Facts. Number 1. Exim Bank was established in 1986 as an export credit agency. It is now the premier trade financing institution, focusing primarily on SMEs and exporters. Number 2. The Exim Bank is funded largely by the Petrocaribe Development Fund, Development Bank of Jamaica, MIDA funding from its parent ministry, that's the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Number 3. Business operators involved in the tourism sector can access up to $25 million at 4.5% per annum for up to 84 months, so that's 7 years, through the SMTE facility, that's the Small and Medium Tourism Enterprises facility, funded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Number 4. To qualify for a loan from the Exim Bank, you need to be an established business operator, registered exporter, and tax compliant. And number 5, trade credit insurance takes on commercial risks in the form of a trade guarantee. Therefore, if the buyer does not pay, Exim Bank will pay. The client can claim up to 80% of the value of the invoice if the payment has not been made within 120 days. And that's it for our Fast Facts. And that's it for our program this week.
Remember to follow Bank of Jamaica on Twitter at centralbankja or the Facebook page. You can also visit the website at boj.org.jm.
We also invite you to send in your questions on Twitter or Facebook. Make sure you send in those questions.
And of course, watch Centrally Speaking next week at the same time right here on your station when we will have another interesting guest. I'm Anna.
And I'm Sheena. Thanks for watching. Centrally Speaking is a production of Bank of Jamaica.